My partner's in the other room taking a call, so I thought I'd do a video in my room because I'm not doing anything else. So I'm going to explain something to you tonight. I'm going to go a little deep with you, but I want to show you the difference between a personality and a true personality. So most people in this world are operating from the fake self. It is a personality that they've constructed through all the pain that they've been through and wanting to avoid getting hurt again. So let's say you have trauma and you don't want to address your trauma, then you build a personality to make sure that you're always preserving yourself. Okay? So it's a personality built on survival. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say that someone was overlooked in their childhood, no one paid attention to them, and then they figured out that if they could be the funniest, bubbliest person in the room, that they would get attention. So that is not actually their true self. That is their wounded self that is operating from this personality that isn't really who they are because they're still seeking validation. Does that make sense? Okay, another example of this would be, let's say you have a woman, and this can be a man, let's not get caught up in the details, but I'm just going to use a woman for this example. You have a woman that was deeply betrayed by a man, and she decides, I'm never going to let anyone mess with me again. So she starts to build this hard shell around her, and she says, I'm going to build an empire, and I'm going to become a boss bee, and no one's going to get to mess with me again. Okay? And then she becomes hardened. There's no more vulnerability. There's no more softness because she wants to be in control. And she tells herself, well, I want this box checked and I want this box checked. If I'm going to date a man, I need all these boxes checked, which again is wanting to be in control. So she presents this personality that isn't really her. It's who she's built herself to be based on not wanting to address her trauma. Does that make sense? Okay, now you have other people, which is very few people in this world, who are operating from the true personality. What does that mean? It means that they have healed themselves, or they're healing themselves, and they're not afraid to dive into their shadow and to heal their trauma. And as a product of that, they get out of their own way, right? They're not afraid to go there. So the universe starts to shine through them. The universe animates them, and it appears to be a personality, but they're not doing anything. They're just being in the present moment, and the spontaneity of the universe is animating them in real time. So that's a true personality because they're living in the moment. They're not trying to control everything because they're afraid to be seen. A lot of people want to control everything because they're afraid to be seen. If you're not afraid to be seen and you're doing your work, you're healing yourself, then you become a conduit for the universe to express through you, to animate you. And that becomes a personality, but it's not really a personality that you've built. It's your true essence shining forth as a result of you getting out of your own way. So I hope this helps you. And what ends up happening to people, I'm just going to keep talking because he's still doing his thing, just doing this for fun. So what ends up happening to people who are operating from the fake self, from the wounded self, from that fake personality, is they end up being in relationships that never work out because they're still self-sabotaging. Just by virtue of not wanting to heal themselves, they self-sabotage. They sabotage their relationships. They sabotage, business relationships, everything. So what ends up happening to people like that is they attract people in their life that the universe is crossing its fingers going, I hope this person opens up, but they usually don't open up because they're caught in that vicious cycle and they end up ruining their relationships. And then people who are operating from the truer personality, meaning they're allowing themselves to be in the moment, they're allowing themselves to be seen, they're allowing themselves to be vulnerable, they end up in healthy relationships because they're not playing those games anymore. They're not running from themselves anymore. So I hope that helps you, and I love you, and I hope you have a great night.